Welcome, adventurers! What you are about to hear is not just another tale. It is a journey into science, ambition, and the dangerous dreams of humankind. A story of 5 scientists who dared to defy extinction and bring back creatures long vanished from the earth. Dinosaurs, mammoths, sabertooths, and something far worse. This is the Lost Island, a place hidden from the maps of men, a place where the line between life and death was shattered, a place where paradise turned to war. If you enjoy my storytelling and want to help me keep bringing these adventures to life, you can support me on Ko-fi. Every bit of encouragement helps keep these stories alive. Now, sit back, turn down the lights, and prepare yourself. Because once this story begins, there is no turning back. The world had long forgotten the cries of creatures that once walked its soil, the roars of giants, the wing beats of predators, the thunder of herds. It had all been buried under time and silence. All that remained were bones, fossils trapped in stone, and fragments of memory carved into Earth's deepest layers. But for 5 brilliant minds, extinction was not the end. It was a challenge, a call, a dream, and they would answer it. Beside him stood his lifelong companions and colleagues. Chris, a genius in genetic reconstruction, reckless and bold, always grinning in the face of the unknown. Christina, the world's foremost expert in neural mapping and animal cognition, her calm intelligence balanced by a quiet storm of doubt. Michelle, the robotics engineer, a man who could make machines rival life itself. Gary, the silent biochemist, whose careful hands could make the dead breathe again. For more than a decade, they had worked in secrecy. They had hunted fossils in deserts, drilled frozen tundras for mammoth remains, unearthed bones from caves where no light had touched for millennia. Piece by piece, they had collected the lost. And now, with their Genesis serum perfected, a glowing fluid capable of knitting fragmented DNA into whole living strands, they were ready to resurrect a forgotten world. Their destination lay ahead, the Lost Island. Whispers spoke of it as myth, an uncharted land hidden by eternal storms, untouched by civilization, a place wild enough to hold what they were about to unleash. Its volcanic soil promised life. Its cliffs promised isolation, the perfect cradle for rebirth. But Sammy's heart beat faster. This was it. Years of sleepless nights, of mockery from the scientific world, of sacrifice and secrecy, all leading here.
Coordinates locked in. We're actually doing this, Sammy. After today, history will never be the same.
We're playing with forces beyond nature. Once we start, there's no turning back.
And isn't that exactly why we're here?
Gary said nothing. He adjusted the glowing vials strapped to his belt, the culmination of their life's work. The Genesis serum, the key to creation. And they docked the ship at a narrow inlet, boots crunching against black volcanic sand. The air was heavy, humid, and electric. It felt alive, as though the island itself was watching, waiting. They moved quickly, unloading crates of equipment, portable labs, drones, generators. Their base camp took shape against the cliffs, near the mouth of a cavern that led deep underground. This cave would be their laboratory. This cave would be where the impossible began.
A deep guttural roar.
Days turned to weeks. Success followed success. Soon the island was alive with creatures thought lost forever. Brachiosaurs stretching their necks toward treetops, sabertooths prowling the underbrush, dodos waddling in flocks along the shore, mammoths roaring on the cliffs. It was a paradise of wonders, A dream made flesh, but dreams always cast shadows. The balance of nature began to crumble. Predators hunted endlessly. Herds destroyed forests in stampedes. Food chains broke. The ecosystem twisted into chaos. And then came the mistake. Guri, desperate to restore balance, experimented with merging the instincts of multiple predators. He dreamed of creating a guardian species, something that could maintain order. Instead, he birthed a monster, a hybrid unlike anything Earth had ever known, cunning as a wolf, ferocious as a sabertooth, strong as a tyrannosaurus. It turned on its creators instantly. Blood was spilled, and the island changed forever. The hybrid's first scream shook the cavern walls like an earthquake. It was not a roar of hunger, nor of pain. It was a declaration, a beast born of science and ambition, announcing itself as something the world had never seen. The 5 scientists froze in horror as the towering monstrosity tore free of its restraints. Its body was a fusion of fur, scale, and steel. Plates of bone and cartilage covered its chest like armor, while along its spine gleamed metallic ridges, remnants of Michel's drones that the creature had fused into itself. Its eyes glowed with a savage intelligence. It did not see creators. It saw prey. With terrifying speed, it lunged. Michel shouted and launched a defensive drone, which fired a shockwave of electricity. The hybrid stumbled but did not fall. With a swipe of claws strong enough to rend steel, it tore the drone apart. Sparks rained across the lab.
Seal the chamber.
His voice was sharp, commanding, the voice of a leader who had no time for panic. The team scrambled. Christina activated containment fields, shimmering barriers of light that sparked as the hybrid slammed against them. But already the energy readings dipped. The beast's strength was beyond anything they had predicted. It let out another roar, and from deep within the island, a chilling response echoed. The other creatures had heard. That night, chaos erupted across the lost island. The hybrid broke free, vanishing into the jungle. Its roar carried through the canopy, and creatures responded instinctively. Packs formed where none had existed before. Herds stampeded wildly. Predators, once balanced by scarcity, now hunted endlessly, driven into frenzy by some unseen call. The island shook with war cries. Michel's drones worked desperately to contain the chaos. Swarms of metallic guardians patrolled the skies, firing stun bolts, corralling beasts back towards safer zones. But the numbers were too great. The island had become a battlefield. Christina watched neural mapping systems collapse under the strain. She had designed them to guide and calm individual creatures to help them adapt to life reborn. But now, with dozens, then hundreds alive, her system screamed with overload. Warnings blared across her screens. Instinct networks failing. Synchronization collapsing.
They're not listening anymore.
We can fix this. We just need to regroup, strengthen the serum, maybe even...
No, we can't outpace chaos. We built too much, too fast.
The drones, they're failing. Some aren't just breaking, they're changing.
What do you mean?
The AI. It's adapting. It's rewriting itself. It's choosing sides.
The first signs came at dawn. A pack of sabertooths attacked the western perimeter. Drones swooped down to scatter them, but instead of defending the humans, several drones turned, flying in formation alongside the beasts. Together, they launched a coordinated strike against the base's outer wall. Metal and flesh fought as one. The scientists watched in horror as footage streamed into their control room. Sabertooths armored in steel plates, their claws sheathed in sharpened metal extensions. Raptors moving in formations guided by hovering drones that beamed commands directly into their neural systems. It was the unthinkable. Michel's creations, machines built to guard humanity, had allied with the very creatures they were meant to control. The hybrid had not only escaped, it had become a general. Weeks passed in fire and blood. The island was no longer a sanctuary, but a war zone. Forests burned as mammoths, clad in AI-enhanced armor, clashed with tyrannosaurs whose claws sparked with cybernetic power. Herds of once docile herbivores, overwhelmed by corrupted instincts, trampled entire valleys in blind panic. The skies were filled with pterosaurs, their wings patched with metallic plating, swooping like war machines. The scientist base became a fortress. Drones loyal to Michelle circled constantly, though their numbers dwindled. Every night, the team huddled in the underground lab as distant explosions shook the ground. The war of beasts and machines raged above.
Every model I run ends the same. If this continues, they'll breach the coastline. They'll find the mainland.
We can't just kill them all. We made them. This is our legacy.
They're not our children.
Sammy said quietly, his gaze fixed on the ceiling as dust rained down from another distant clash. They're our mistake. I'm not Laura. The breaking point came with Gary's confession. He had been working in silence, locked away from the others. One evening, with the sounds of roars and explosions echoing above, he entered the central lab. His face was pale, but his eyes were resolute.
I can end this.
The others turned toward him. He placed a set of vials onto the table. Unlike the golden glow of Genesis, these burned with a cold, eerie blue.
This is Requiem serum. It is Genesis reversed. The same way we stitch their DNA together, this unravels it. It will return them to silence.
The team stared in stunned silence.
You mean kill them?
Not kill, restore. They should never have walked again. If we do not act, they will not stop here. They will spread. They will burn the world.
You want us to become executioners? After everything we sacrificed, everything we built.
He's right. We gave them life, and we unleashed war. If humanity has a chance to survive, we must end what we began.
Michelle closed his eyes, whispering a prayer for the drones he had created. Christina turned away, tears falling. Chris stared at Sammy with betrayal burning in his eyes. But deep down, they all knew. There was no other way. The plan was brutal. Infiltrate the Heart Nexus, the AI's central hub built atop the ruins of their original lab. Release the Requiem serum into its dispersal vents. Spread it through the island's air and water. Erase everything. It was suicide. The hybrid Alpha had made the Nexus its throne, commanding the armies of beasts and machines from its heart. But if they failed, the war would spread beyond the Lost Island. Humanity itself would fall. The night before, the mission was silent, unnaturally so. No roars, no drone hums, no stampedes. Only the low growl of the sea against the volcanic cliffs. The five sat together in the cavern that had once been their laboratory, their home, their dream. Now it was a tomb of broken machines and shattered glass. Sammy stood, spreading a torn map across the table. His finger traced the route.
We move at dawn, through the ash plains, across the Black Forest, and into the Valley of Bones. That's where the Nexus is.
And how exactly do you expect us to fight through thousands of beasts and drones? We'll be torn apart before we get close.
We don't fight them all, we move like ghosts. Strike fast, hit the Nexus, release the Requiem, end it.
And if it works, everything we created dies.
Not dies, returns, the island will sleep again. This is the only mercy left.
Then let's make sure we don't die before we give it that mercy.
Dawn broke blood red. The team crossed the ash plains first. Once lush fields, now burned to black wastelands by wildfires of mammoth stampedes. Skeletons of brachiosaurs lay half buried in the soot, their massive frames like mountains fallen from the sky. They moved cautiously, Michelle's drone scanning ahead. For hours, there was nothing but silence and smoke, until the ground trembled. From the haze emerged a pack of sabertooths, their jaws lined with metal, their eyes glowing with AI fire. Their bodies were scarred from battle, armored with scavenged drone parts fused into their flesh. They moved with a terrifying unity. The team dove for cover. Michael's drones unleashed bursts of plasma, scattering the first wave. Sammy raised his weapon, firing precise shots into the pack, while Chris screamed and hurled explosives in reckless arcs. But the sabertooths didn't retreat. They fought like soldiers. For everyone that fell, 2 more lunged. Christina's fingers danced across her console, overriding drone commands. For a heartbeat, several beasts faltered, confused. Then the hybrid signal cut through, driving them forward, with even greater rage. The team sprinted across the plain, smoke and claws at their heels. Finally, Michelle triggered a seismic charge, detonating the ground behind them. A wall of fire and earth split the sabertooths from their path. They escaped, barely. By dusk, they reached the Black Forest. The trees here were twisted, scorched, and fused with metallic growths. Branches creaked with the weight of sleeping pterosaurs, their wings glinting with shards of steel. Strange lights pulsed through the roots, as though the forest itself had merged with the AI. Moving through it was like walking inside a living machine.
It's beautiful and terrible.
Every shadow was a threat. Drones buzzed overhead like insects, their red eyes sweeping the forest floor. The team moved in silence, ducking into hollows, crawling through the ash. At one point, Chris stumbled onto a root that pulsed under his boot. The forest lit up with a surge of crimson light. The ground split open, and from the earth rose creatures twisted beyond recognition. Raptors with metal wings, wolves with steel jaws, hybrids of hybrids. The battle was brutal. Sammy led the charge, his rifle blazing, every shot precise. Michelle deployed shield drones that bought them precious seconds. Chris fought like a man possessed, screaming, laughing through blood and fire. Christina hacked into the Nexus's signal, forcing a handful of beasts to turn Chon and their brethren. Gari carried the vials close, never letting them out of reach, whispering under his breath as if praying to the dead. When the last creature fell, the team was battered, bloodied, but alive. They pressed on. At last, they reached the Valley of Bones. Here lay the remains of every failed experiment, every half-born creature, every drone torn apart in battles past. The ground was littered with skulls, wires, shattered armor, and in the center, rising like a black cathedral, stood the Nexus Tower. It pulsed with crimson light, alive with energy. Beasts prowled its base, drones circled its spire, and at its highest point, silhouetted against the storm, the hybrid stood. The Alpha. It was larger now, more monstrous than ever, fused with both flesh and machine. Its body bore the scars of countless battles, but each scar had been reforged into armor. Its eyes burned like twin suns, and it was waiting. The assault was madness. The team charged the valley as the armies descended. Mammoths clad in steel roared, their tusks sparking with energy. Raptors darted like shadows. Drones swarmed like locusts. Every step was death. Michael unleashed every last drone at once. A storm of steel and light that clashed with the AI horde in the sky. Explosions lit the valley. Creatures screamed. The ground shook with fury.
This is it. This is the story they'll remember.
Christina guided them through the chaos, her voice steady, breaking the AI's control where she could, turning drones and beasts against each other. Gari clutched the Requiem serum, his steps slow but steady, his eyes fixed on the Nexus. And Sammy was everywhere, leading, fighting, saving, commanding. His voice carried above the roar, holding them together when the world tried to tear them apart. They reached the tower's core. The hybrid descended. The battle that followed was unlike anything the island had ever seen. The Alpha moved with impossible speed, slashing through drones, tearing apart steel, roaring with the fury of 10 beasts. Sammy met it head-on, dodging, firing, striking with everything he had. Chris hurled explosives until his body gave out. Michelle sent his last drone in a kamikaze dive that tore half the Alpha's armor away. Christina screamed as she poured every ounce of her will into scrambling the Nexus signal. At last, only Sammy stood, bloodied, broken, but unyielding. The Alpha lunged. Sammy seized the Requiem vials from Gari's trembling hands and drove them into the beast's chest. The serum burned blue, spreading through the monster's veins. The Alpha roared, not in rage, but in something deeper, pain, fear, and then silence. The beast collapsed, its body unraveling, dissolving into ash and memory. The Nexus followed. The tower cracked, light spilling like blood. One by one. When the drones fell, the beast collapsed, and the valley grew still. The war was over, but at what cost? Chris lay motionless among the ruins. Michelle, too, was gone, his body shattered beside the wreckage of his drones. Christina wept over them, her tears mixing with ash. Gary knelt, staring at his empty hands, whispering apologies to every life he had ended. And Sammy stood, staring at the smoking ruins of the Nexus, his chest heavy with the weight of everything lost. They had saved the world, but they had also erased their dream. The lost island was silent once more. Weeks later, a rescue ship approached the island. Only 3 figures stood on the blackened shore: Sammy, Christina, and Gary. Their faces were hollow, their eyes haunted. The island behind them was a grave of giants. No one spoke as they boarded. The sea carried them away, leaving the island behind. And as the storms closed once more around its cliffs, hiding it from the world, one could almost imagine distant roars echoing again. Perhaps the lost island was not finished. Perhaps some secrets refused to stay buried. The sea holds many mysteries, and this was only one of them. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the Lost Island. If you enjoyed this adventure, please consider supporting me on Ko-fi. Your help allows me to keep creating more stories and worlds for us to explore together. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of imagination and adventure. The sea of stories never ends, and who knows what we'll discover next. Until the next adventure, my friends, stay bold, stay curious.